Welcome to Nomcast, where we take a deep dive into your food and splash around to see what we can find. I'm your host, Alice Zaslewski, and today we're peeling back the layers to learn more about how we use our bodies to get all the good nutrients out of our food, through our guts. Before we get started, I want to ask everyone to check if their brains are switched on and fully charged, because there'll be a quiz at the end. Okay, let's go. Last time, we learned about how soil works, with all its different living creatures working together. So you might be surprised to know that our guts are actually a little bit like soil. Let's take a closer look. Gut is another word for a human being's gastrointestinal tract. That's the system in our body that processes food from when we first eat it to when it comes out the other end as, well, poo. Our gut starts from our mouths and travels all the way through our body to our anus. It's a big journey. Our gut is about 10 metres long. And if you're having trouble imagining that, close your eyes and think of a whole bus or 20 cats in a row. It's long, and this gut's got many stops. As our meal travels along, our organs take what our body needs by converting the food into its simplest forms, like glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. We use those nutrients to power our brains and muscles and hearts and everything we need to have energy to climb trees like mad orangutans, or kick a footy like Buddy, or cook up yummy pasta sauce with our families. The way it happens is similar to what goes on in soil. Our bodies are home to heaps and heaps of microscopic critters, bacteria. About 40 trillion of them. That must be a big family reunion. Most of those bacteria live in our guts, and together they're called the gut microbiome. Their job starts with the saliva in our mouth, which breaks down the carbohydrates in popular foods like onions and bananas into simple sugars. Then the food travels down our esophagus and into our stomach, where it mixes with gastric acid, which sort of sizzles and bubbles and munches our meal to dissolve it. Our stomach also crunches it down physically, kind of like bagpipes. Then digestive enzymes in our pancreas and bile in our liver get mashed in before our food enters our small intestine. Here, something really cool happens. Nutrients are absorbed through millions of tiny projections called villi, which look like fingers or sea anemones, and that's how the good stuff from our food ends up in our bloodstream. The healthier our gut is, the more nutrients we can take in. But soil is important here too. Food that's grown in healthier soil contains more nutrients for our bodies to absorb. So really, our gut health starts way before we start eating a yummy meal. And what's left over when we've absorbed all the nutrients? Well, it's poo.
We've got to get this poo moving. It's nearly morning.
Everything else has been digested, sir.
All nutrients absorbed, glucose, amino acids,
Fatty acids, glycerol, all accounted for.
Tick, tick, tick. Wait! What about the stomach? Did it squeeze the food through the sphincter?
Affirmative. Push through the sphincter.
And you've left a few corn kernels whole?
Yep. Corn from last night's dinner still undigested and ready to be laughed at. Locked and loaded. Sir, he's waking up. It's time to go.
Lights, camera, action!
That's right. Checking out poo can be a really good way to know how healthy somebody's gut is. If your poo is slimy or sloppy, or it smells weird or has turned a funny colour, your gut microbiome might be lacking a few family members. Enter prebiotics and probiotics. Prebiotics are foods that help the good bacteria in your gut to grow. Think of them as being like a cheer squad for your healthy gut microbiome, encouraging it to perform at its best. They're mostly made up of fibre or complex carbohydrates that are hard for human cells to digest, so we don't absorb them, but the good bacteria can break them down and use them for fuel. Do you know what's rich in prebiotics? Onions. They're nifty little gut friends that contain inulin and FOS, fructooligosaccharides, which are both prebiotics that can help these good bacteria stay fighting fit. Eating foods packed with prebiotics, like onions, helps our body to do all sorts of important things.
I'm the prefect. I make sure good bacteria can stay strong and happy by munching on dietary fibers. Every day I'm helping residents of Gut City stay healthy. Ma'am, are your good bacteria feeling sluggish and cranky?
They say they're too tired to help my gut absorb nutrients. I'm going to be thrown out of balance.
Fear not. I have all the fuel I need right here to get them moving again.
Oh, thank you. My metabolic health feels better already.
We've restored balance to Gut City. Another successful day on Team Good Bacteria.
As well as prebiotics, we have probiotics. They're living bacteria that add to the team of good bacteria already in your guts. They're like friends from another school that come in to help your gut microbiome combat the bad guys. A good source of probiotics is fermented food. Fermentation happens when microorganisms, tiny living creatures like yeast and bacteria, convert carbs like starch and sucrose into acids and a tiny bit of alcohol. It can give them all kinds of great flavours like sourness and zestiness and tanginess. That's how we get delicious ingredients like cheese, yogurt, chocolate, pickles and kimchi. But how do they help our guts? They're rich in lactobacilli, a common type of probiotic that can reduce inflammation, better absorb proteins, and even help our poo find its way out more efficiently. See, our gut microbiome is full of superheroes. Speaking of probiotics, did you know people even get poo transplants to make their gut healthier? It's called a fecal microbiota transplant, and it's like the ultimate probiotic. Healthy donor poo is infused into the patient's bowel, where it starts to work its magic, destroying bad bacteria and repopulating the good ones, and helping with all kinds of infection and digestive issues. So next time you're chowing down on a delicious plate of crunchy, tasty veggies, remember, they're about to go on a pretty amazing journey to nourish your gut and become poo! All right, quiz time. Question 1. What's the system of good and bad bacteria in your gut called? Question 2. What does good bacteria turn our food into? Question 3. What's it called when living creatures turn sugar in food into acids? Question 4. What are the tiny fingers in our small intestine called? Question 5. What do onions contain that helps to keep our gut healthy? Question 6. How long is our gut? Ready for the answers? Here we go. Answer 1. The system of good and bad bacteria in your gut is called the gut microbiome. Answer 2. Good bacteria turns our food into glucose, amino acids and fatty acids. Answer 3. Fermentation is what it's called when living creatures turn sugar in food into acids. Answer 4. The tiny fingers in our small intestine are called villi. Answer 5. Onions contain prebiotics. Answer 6. Our gut is 10 metres long, or about as long as a bus. This podcast was brought to you by Hort Innovation, using the Onion Research and Development Levy and funds from the Australian Government. For more information, check out horticulture.com.au. For more information on Phenomenon, check out phenomenon.com.au.